All right, Facebook family, we are here, the empowerment platform. And tonight, this is going to be just me, no special guests tonight. So you get me for about 45 minutes to an hour. And what I plan to do is just do a deep dive with me, the founder of the empowerment platform, who I am, what's my story, and, just talk about a little bit of the things that I've been through, things that I've done, things that I've achieved, some failures, and just really deep dive into that so you know who I am as a person, what I stand for, and kind of how I got the idea, which I kind of explained in the first video of how I got the idea of the empowerment platform and what it's for. So we're going to kick it off. One little housekeeping thing tonight is I'm live streaming with a service called StreamYard, and it should be live streaming to Facebook and YouTube simultaneously. So this is something new. I'm not sure if you can see my art. Actually, I'm gonna bring up a Facebook page myself and see if I can see the little art on the side. And it's just something new that I'm working on, trying to make this thing beautiful and kick it off. So another great feature of this is you should be able to comment, and I can see your comments all in one area. And then that way, if you comment, I can post it up on the screen as a question. I can show them what I seen that StreamYard says there was a change in Facebook. So if you do comment, it doesn't show your name. But if you want them to see your name and your picture, you have to give StreamYard permission. So I'm gonna post a comment into the chat. You should be able to see it and then click on the link inside that and go and show your name and your face if you choose to do so. If not, then it will not show your face or name, and it will simply just have you like a Facebook icon. So you won't be able to see anything. And actually, it works because I'm on Facebook now and I can see it live and in real time. So that's great. That's awesome. Technology is amazing. And as we can see, things that always weren't easy before, they're just becoming easier and easier. And it's just amazing. So let's get started. Who am I? My name is Tyrus Shivers. I live in Jessup, Maryland, and I'm married to my beautiful wife, Catherine. We have 2 kids. I currently work as a IT infrastructure engineer, and I also do real estate investing. So those are kind of my 2 things right now. I am branching out and kind of changing direction a little bit. I want to do more public speaking, more mentorship. I've been mentoring in MacArthur Middle, which is a local middle school on Fort Meade's base here in Maryland. I've been doing it for a few years now, off and on, and I'm really trying to go and do it more and actually be there for not just here and there, but really be that standard. Mr. Shivers is going to come, he's going to talk to us, he's going to mentor us, and, just be a resource for the students. So, how did I start and wind up here in Maryland doing this? So, a lot of you know that I'm from Alabama and went to college at Tuskegee for a little while, lost my scholarship. I had a full paid scholarship to Tuskegee, lost it while I was pledging and marching in the band and doing all those things we like to do to have fun, but not keeping up with my studies. So lost my scholarship, went to AUM, which is Auburn University in Montgomery. Did not really like it there that much. So I just started working with one of my cousins in Alabama, and we, doing the menial jobs, menial tasks, doing HVAC work. And I knew I worked at UPS and movie gallery at that time, and I knew that wasn't for me. So while I was trying to figure out, okay, what am I going to do to, I always knew, and even from a young boy, I always used to tell my mom that I don't want to work hard. I want to work smart. I don't want to be doing those 30-year jobs, 40-year to get a retirement check. And, I just wasn't for that, even at an early age. I always had some type of business, whether it was a business cards, doing programs for the church. And I knew that I had an entrepreneur spirit. I didn't know where it was going to take me, but I just knew that hard work wasn't it. So while I'm working hard, I was like, yeah, this isn't for me. What should I do? And then my uncle, um, he was in the Air Force probably by that time over 10 years. And he said, the Air Force has always been good to me. I got this degree, that degree there. So maybe you should give it a shot. And I was like, I never thought about going into the military before then. But hey, I'm not doing anything else. And it seems like it was more of a, I wouldn't say dead end, but it was definitely it would have been a tougher road had I stayed on that path. So I did end up going into the military. I joined the Air Force in 2007. I was a signals intelligence analyst, and I went to Korea. And during that time, I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis early in 2007. And in 2009, I was actually med boarded out. I had the chief of the med board was the chief doctor in Korea, and he told me, he was like, ulcerative colitis, that's not comparative with the Air Force. You cannot be in the military. And so I was med boarded out in 2009, and I joined my wife here in Maryland, and I started doing government contracting. My first job was as like a PC breakdown person. So we get the machines, we break them down, we take them apart, we stack them up, send them out, and they kind of the refresh. And from there, I was doing that work. At that point, I knew I needed to go back to school. So I was going to American Military University, and I got my bachelor's in legal studies while I was working that job. And as I did that, I went up in the ranks, of course, to local support, desktop support, special projects, where that means they give you a building and they say, hey, we need 100 computers in that building. Me and the team, we would go and outfit that building. And that means putting down 100 desktops, monitors, keyboard, mice, hooking it all up, making sure it all works, and then kind of supporting that building for a little while and then moving on to the next. And during that time, I was wanting to get more into cybersecurity. So I had moved from one company to the next, and I said, how can I grow? How can I get into cybersecurity? What can I do? And at that point, they said, well, if you've never done cybersecurity before, you need to either get certifications or a degree. So I went back to school, and about a year and a half, maybe close to 2, I got a master's degree in cybersecurity. And then it was a dual program, so I could get a MS in cybersecurity and an MBA. So another 6 months of time, and I achieved that, and I got an MBA. And guess what? I got certifications: certified ethical hacker, certified penetration tester, and I did not get into cybersecurity because at that point I ran into well, you got the degrees, but you don't have hands-on experience. And I'm like, how can I get hands-on experience if you don't give it to me? So I kind of just moved away and started doing more system administration work for small teams. And that's kind of where I've been, and kind of just went up, 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 up in that. And I'm still doing that type of work today. Um, how do you may ask, well, then how did you get into real estate investing? I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit. I've always wanted more. I had the drive to want more. And I started thinking, okay, how can I get generational wealth to pass down to my kids? Because I love my parents. I 100% respect what my forefathers went through. All of my family members worked hard. Every single one of them, from picking cotton to listening to my great grandfather tell me stories about how he chopped cotton at 10 years old. And I have 100% respect for that. But I knew that they couldn't pass down generational wealth to us. What they did pass down was our work ethic. And so we do have a very, very great work ethic, but I knew I needed more for my kids, for my family. What if something happened to me? I mean, now I'm medically retired out of the Air Force. I'm working a job, I'm making good money, but what am I passing down to my children? So I started to think, okay, real estate. I always hear about people owning rental property, and in Maryland, I've heard about that more than I ever heard about in Alabama. I never heard people talking about wealth building in Alabama. They talked about going to work hard and do the work. And if you watch the broadcast with me and Nick White and Associates, the financial planner, you would see that we talked about that. Oh, we're working hard, but there's nothing really to pass down. So I started to think about that, and I said, well, I'm gonna give real estate a shot. And at this time, 2013, 14-ish, um, Meetup had started becoming popular. So you just go to meetup.com and type in real estate, and it tells you all the local meetups in the area. And so I went to one that's called a BWI meetup. Um, Kenny Gills, who has passed away since that time, but the late great Kenny Gills and Bill Ames were partners there. They were having the BWI meetup. I went, and just hearing people talk about building wealth through real estate really stuck with me. So next thing I try to figure out is, okay, how can I get into this? How can I get a rental property if I don't have money? So, and many of you real estate people who know me and who I follow and my friends in the industry, we know that the number one entry point to real estate is wholesaling. Wholesaling is where you do marketing for properties. Most of them are either absentee owners, which means they're owned by people who don't live in them, or they have code violations, or maybe they're just old and the owner has a lot of equity, or maybe someone passed away and it's in probate. So what happens is a quick quick rundown of wholesaling is you do marketing to one of those groups, mail them letters. Back then, mailing letters was the most common way. Um, Cold calling, you get a list, you get phone numbers, you have them skip trace, then you have somebody call them, and you call up and you say, if you get an answer, you say, hey, this is so and so, I like your neighborhood, or I'm doing work in your area and I'm looking for another property. Are you thinking about, or have you ever considered selling your property? And so if it's favorable, we'll just say it's favorable for sake of conversation. If it's favorable, that person say, yes, I was looking to sell my property. I kind of wanted to list it on the MLS, which is what realtors use to sell houses, buy and sell. But I need a lot of work, so I don't think I could really sell it retail. So wholesale means not buying it retail. So at that point, you make them an offer based on a wholesale price. And so a fair market value of a house is $100,000. Let's just say that. Maybe you offer them 40,000 because you got to go in, you got to see how much repair it needs, et cetera, et cetera. And when you go and you say, hey, here is how much you can, well, here's the work I need to do. Here's what I can offer you, 40 grand. They say, okay, great. I'll take 40. I only owe 30. I walk away with maybe 2,500 to 5, depending on all the fees. And at that point, now you have a contract. With that contract, you have interest in the property. and you can assign that contract to an end buyer. So you're kind of a middle person. And when you find your end buyer, you sell it to them. If you said that you was going to purchase it for 40, say you sell it to your end buyer for 45,000. And you say, hey, end buyer, I have this property available, 45,000. Do you want it? Favorable terms? Yes, I want it. I'll pay you 45. And then what happens is you assign that contract to them. At closing, they pay 40,000 to the owner plus any other fees, and then they pay you that 5,000 that you put in as extra. So now you sold your first property. Of course, everybody loves that. Everybody wants to get into that because the lowest barrier of entry, you don't have to have a lot of money. If you're really great, you don't have to have hardly any money. But I don't like to tell people that you don't have to have no money, because having no money means you have some kind of connection where you can get money from somebody else, or you figure out a way to own or finance it. And it's just more tricky than saying you don't have to have any money. So you do need some type of money in the game, some kind of way. And I looked at that, and I did 1 or 2 wholesales with Kenny, and then I did not like wholesaling at all. I still do a little bit now. I'm doing some marketing, and now they've moved into texting, cold calling, but I just don't like it. I don't like talking to an owner, trying to buy their property. They're upset at you because you got to go through a lot to get one. It's not all favorable. So my other method was, okay, how can I get into real estate with the little money so I can build money so I can buy rentals? Because at the end of the day, you're either wholesaling, buying rentals, flipping houses, fixing them up and flipping them, lending money. Um, if you want to be a professional in the industry, and not that the other things aren't professionals, but I mean, if you want to be a licensed realtor, which I am with Keller Williams in Columbia, you could be a lender, loan officer. Then you have to go take licenses and all that kind of stuff. So there are different things you can do in real estate. And I'm just talking more of the investing side. So I decided that property management was a source that, okay, I don't need a whole lot of money up front because the owner owns the property. They pay for the repairs to their property. The tenant pays the rent that goes to the owner. So I am the middleman collecting a management fee for managing properties. And at that time, I was like, yeah, that's a good idea. This could be my entry point to real estate. So I started a property management company. With the help of Kenny, I went from 0 to over 100 units in the first year. Massive growth. The way I set it up was with systems and processes, because that's what I'm strong at. That's what I like. I like being behind the computer. I like typing up the documentation. I like getting it ready. So at that point, I was able to build and grow this business and be a property manager. And I've been doing that ever since 2014 and still do it today. Um, at the current moment, I'm flipping a house in Baltimore City near Coppin State. Bought it for 45. It should take about 55, maybe 60 to renovate. And then we hope to sell it for around 150. All in all, at the end of the day, we want our profit to be around 30,000, 35,000, 25,000 if something goes wrong. If you tear back that wall or bust that concrete. And that's kind of how the real estate game goes. And my end goal for that is take that profit, put it into the next one. I don't want to be a big time rehabber. I used to want that. Things have changed. My whole principles and what I'm thinking about has changed. So at this point, I want to flip 1 or 2 houses at a time and just do that slowly. I don't want to flip 10 at a time. I don't want to do 15 or 20 at a time. I just don't want to grow it that big. And with rental properties, I really like what Mark Owens, who is a local investor in Baltimore, and some of the other guys, my personal coach, Steve Kavanaugh, shout out to him, and Ascend Coaching and Mentoring. I really like the approach of having an asset to pay for a liability. So if I have my house, it's a liability to me. I want to buy asset, income producing rental property to pay that bill. So that's kind of where I am now. I'm looking into starting to figure out how to get assets to pay for my liabilities so I can have that financial freedom, that economic empowerment, and I can pass that generational wealth down to my children. So that in a nutshell is what I'm working on. I'm also moving towards my passion because it doesn't matter how much money you have, what you do, where you go, who you know, if you're not doing what you're passionate about, it's all for naught, for nothing. You just do not get that fulfillment. You don't get that satisfaction. So my passion has always been speaking and mentoring. And so now I am working on moving back to that area. I mentioned that I do mentor high school, middle school kids, and I have been off and on. So now I'm going to make a concentrated and dedicated effort to hit them once a week, to different classes, go in, mentor them, speak to them, and teach them how to seek economic empowerment, financial empowerment, um, freedom of life, choices, because money isn't everything, but it does give you choices. So the more you have, the more choices and freedoms that you have. So that is my goal. That is who I want to be. That is what I'm passionate about. Speaking, mentoring, and just really working with people to help empower them. And that's how I rolled into the empowerment platform. Mentoring kids that told me, it sounds good, but it's not my reality. My family doesn't know anything about this. And I'm like, yeah, that resonates because my family doesn't know anything about it either. I understand. And how can I help you? How can I get your family to empowered? How can I share information? So that is what this platform is all about: sharing information, connecting the dots, connecting people to other people who they may not ever touch, because a lot of people need that financial literacy, but a lot of people don't know where to go. You may have to pay a financial advisor to give you information, but what if the local church or the local club or the local committee or whatever local group is having a financial literacy course? They know me, they mention it, I reach out to them and I say, hey, can you put on this financial literacy class for this group of people because they need you? They need the information. So that's what I'm doing with the empowerment platform. Things that I feel I can give back on are a vast knowledge of all the industries that I've worked in and been in. I've done the military thing, so I can speak intelligently on being in the military. I've worked the hard job that really won't lead you anywhere. I have currently worked as a government contractor, working that job. IT support. I can tell you a lot about computers if there's people that's interested in that. Real estate investing. I've done a little bit of a lot in real estate investing. I'm not a deep diver. I can't say that I'm the flipper of the year, but I do know one that I can connect you with. So, what I can give back is just my knowledge that I have obtained over years of study, years of sampling, is what I like to call it. And don't feel bad if you don't know what you want to be yet, because maybe you're a person that you like to try different things. Jay Scott, give a shout out to him, one of the best guys I know, successful flipper, does all other kind of things. And he's like, what are you going to do next? But what he told me at a lunch, I said, Jay, you know what? I just feel, I don't feel like what is my passion? What is my dream? I did property management, but now I want to try this. And now I want to try to. He said, don't feel bad about that. Maybe you're a serial entrepreneur. Maybe you won't have just one business. Maybe you're going to have multiple. Maybe you're going to do multiple things. So don't worry about if you don't feel like you have that one thing that you know. Just try something, do something, make some step. So that's another part of me as a I've done a lot of things in a lot of different industries, and I feel like I can give back that knowledge. I've done the college thing. I've went to college unsuccessfully at one point. So I know the feeling of going to a school, having it given to you on scholarship that you've earned and then losing it. And then you're having to go back and, you know, finish up somewhere else. So I know that aspect of it. Um, I can speak and tell you about having a medical condition that doesn't go away, um, where you have to constantly battle your flares and your pain and your moments of weakness and being tired. I I know that feeling, and I know how to support people through that feeling. So that is another way that I can connect with people who sometimes feel like, man, is it even worth getting out of the bed for? I'm in so much pain or so much discomfort. And the answer is yes. It's always worth getting up. It's worth it to take one step forward every single day towards your dreams. And for me, it's just about giving back now. That's my passion. That's my ministry. My ministry is to give back, to empower, to mentor. Um, I've spent years and years studying religions and studying scripture and learning the Bible and just really sinking myself into that avenue to know that where my help comes from. And it comes from above, from my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. That's how I get up every day. That's how I move forward every day, knowing that it's His strength, His will, His purpose. And that's my purpose. And I ran from that, chasing money, wanting to make as much money as you can make, getting everything that you can get, being big, having, all of that stuff I used to dream about, being a billionaire. Those things aren't as important as knowing your passion and connecting to it. And mine is people. Mine is helping, mentoring, coaching, teaching, serving, working through with, and really pushing to be great, be a great person. Um, as I continue to work, I seek mentorship myself. I have a personal coach that teaches and shows me how to do things a little bit better, or I give him my goal plan and he comes back and say, hey, you thought about this, this, and this. So I highly recommend that if you can, connect with a mentor, connect with someone that you gel with, because I am 100% every coach that I've had, and I haven't had many, but I make sure that we gel together as people. We have the same type of mindset and we're similar, because there's nothing worse than connecting with a person and trying to get them to get you further along and you guys just don't see eye to eye and you're just not the same type of personality. So sometimes having a different personality helps, but you don't want to be so far off in what you believe, what your core principles are, what your foundations are. And I would say that my foundations are honesty, integrity, doing the best that you can do with what you have. And I talked to a friend the other day on Facebook. He sent me a message after I got a treatment, and I made a post, and he said, just roundabout way that I come a long way. I'm a strong guy. And I said, I'm just playing the cards that I've been dealt. And even when you play dominoes, I don't know how many of you play dominoes out there, but I'm an avid dominoes player. When you shuffle the dominoes up there face down and you pull your dominoes to you, but even as you reach in and you select yours, you don't see them until you flip them up, and you got to play with what you have. So I highly encourage people to do the best with what they have. That's another one of my principles. Just honesty. If you're going to do something and you say you're going to do it, do it. My dad was real big on that. If he said he was going to do it, he's going to do it. If he didn't want to do it, he's going to tell you, I'm not going to do it. Be that way. Slow to anger. If you want to learn some great principles, get in Proverbs in the Bible. I am in Proverbs. Wonderful, wonderful life principles there. Help you in business, help you in life, help you in home, help help you in family, everywhere. Because it's important that we have that knowledge. I'm an avid reader. I heavily encourage reading. Everyone wants to get next to that big person. Oh, I want to meet Oprah, or oh, I want to meet Will Smith, or oh, I want to meet whoever, Warren Buffett, Bill Gates. You can meet all of these people through books, through their articles, through their talks. So back in the day, and I'm not old, but I'm old enough to remember when the internet was not a big thing in Alabama. And we had a computer, but internet was so slow, there was no YouTube. There was all of the information was in a book or in a library. Today, you have books, you have the internet, you have libraries, you have all this power and access to information at your fingertips. So go out and get it. I'm an avid fan of learning and researching and understanding. And now I'm on a self-improvement kick. Haven't always been. I'm trying to lose weight, trying to exercise, trying to develop myself every day, listening to your Eric Thomas's, your Les Brown, Jim Rohn. I love I guess growing up around my great grandfather, my grandmother, and my older cousins and great aunts and great uncles, I love the wisdom that comes from that older generation. So even though we got the Eric Thomas who's hot right now, and I love him, but I love to go back to that Earl Nightingale. I love to go back to, and what I do is also when I listen to Jim Rohn and he mentions his mentor, Mr. Earl Shoaff, I go back to that mentor. I want to study and learn and hear from the people who that's popular now, who they learn from. Because a lot of times these principles are not new, they're just repackaged and redelivered. So I want to go back as far as I can to get that root. Like Les Brown always says, Mr. Norman Vincent Peale, power of positive thinking. So I go back to him, listen to his speeches, listen to his videos, and what they were able to capture on tape and cassette at that time. Now it's just all over YouTube. I mean, you could go in and put motivational speakers and listen to your heart's content, and never, you'll never run out. So I don't have a. If anybody joins, you got a question, I'm doing Q&A as well. Feel free to type in your question. I will answer it. I don't have a topic other than my deep dive at who I am, what I can offer. So I'm just here with you guys, spending some time chatting, rambling, if you want to call it that. So I don't have anywhere to go right now. I'm just all dialed in to you guys, and whatever questions I can help with, whatever comments that you can think of, feel free to just type it into your chat box, and I should see it if everything works the way it's supposed to, and I can actually highlight it and put it up on the screen. So I thank you for joining me. And the next steps I think for all of us is to just self-improve every day. Find it in yourself, that willpower to want to be better, because it's not, you have your 1%ers and then you have your 5% and on down. But what I have found and what's true is it's not determined for specific people. Anyone can get there. You can get there. And when you get there, well, hard work is what gets you there, and the mindset. But it's not just for, oh man, he just had that innate ability and he was gonna be that person. No, you can be that person. And I do have a question from Mr. Weaver. I'm gonna pop it up on the screen. What are the top 3 books you would suggest? So for me personally, and I welcome I welcome the anyone to take a look and go at it with me on it. I believe it wholeheartedly. The Bible is my number one book because every single topic that I have read, studied, saw in personal development, I can go get it out of the Bible. I can go trace it back there. I can go pull those principles from there. So that's my number one book. My number two book is Mindset. Mindset. And what I'll do is, let's see if I can share my screen and pull it up so you'll see it. And I'm looking over to the side, so forgive me. Mindset is by Dr. Carol S. Dweck. And I'm going to share my screen so you can see it. Number one book was the Bible. Number two book was Mindset. And I'm going to tell you why. So here's Mindset. The reason why my number two book is Mindset is because, pull that back. Okay. So a little bit of me, a little bit of the screen. I know it's small. So Mindset, why? Because it talks about the growth mindset and the fixed mindset. And a lot of us are taught that, oh, you're just not good at math. You're never going to be good at math. Don't worry about it. That's not true. When you have a fixed mindset, you are stuck in what you think who you are. So you don't move and there's no growth there. So fixed mindset is what traps a lot of people in their situation. Oh, I was born in this, I was raised in this, and you've heard it. I can't do anything better. Yes, you can. If you have a growth mindset, you will seek out challenge. You will understand what is necessary to go to the next level, and you won't limit yourself. A growth mindset doesn't have a I can't do it attitude. And so reading that book and sharing that book with students, teachers, parents, educators will help them see that no child is stuck. Oh, he's just not good at math. He's just not good at science. That's not it. So that is my number two book. Number one is the Bible. Number two is Mindset by Dr. Carol S. Dweck. Number three is Think and Grow Rich. Think and Grow Rich. So why Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill? If you listen to your top motivational speakers in the world, they will go back and they will say, I read Think and Grow Rich and it changed my life. Think and Grow Rich gives you principles to basically what it says, think and grow rich. See if I could pull up a little synopsis of it just to share it with you. Think and Grow Rich has been called the granddaddy of all motivational literature. It was the first book to boldly ask what makes a winner. The man who asked and listened for the answer was Napoleon Hill. The most famous of all teachers of success spent a fortune and the better part of a lifetime of effort to produce the laws of success philosophy that forms the base of his books and that is so powerfully summarized in this one. So, in the original Think and Grow Rich, published in 1937, Hill draws on stories of Andrew Carnegie, Thomas Edison, Henry Ford, and other millionaires of his generation to illustrate his principles. This man went and interviewed your top thinkers, your richest people in the world, and he wrote a book. So for those who are talking that, we don't get to meet the Andrew Carnegie, the Thomas Edison, the Henry Ford. They passed on, but we use everything that they created. So that book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, shows those principles of actually getting out of where you are, thinking and growing rich. And anybody can do it. It is not for a select few. You don't have to be born into it. It helps. My goodness, if you were born with into a family and they had $40 million and they were putting it on your name and it was going to get willed down to you, you got a heck of a head start. But that doesn't mean that if you were born into a hardworking family that had a little bit of money and they got by, doesn't mean you can't join the ranks of the most successful. And when you think about success, our society likes to put a dollar sign on success. You're successful if you're multimillionaire, if you have tens of millions of dollars or whatever. But truthfully, you're successful if you're connected to your passion, you live your goals and your dreams, and you're happy and you're content. So success is for the individual, and you can have and enjoy whatever level of success that you want. There's no cap. There's no limit. Les Brown said one thing about humans that make us different from every other animal. A dog can only be a dog. A tree can't be any more than a tree. But for the human, with our brain, we can be whatever we want to be, that we put our mind to, that we set ourselves forward and push ourselves to be. And that kind of brings me into the book of tonight, which is Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. So Can't Hurt Me is a book, Master Your Mind and Defy the Odds. This is a guy who, for all intents purposes, like he says in his own book, he should have been a statistic. Everything going wrong from a young age, hard life. He goes through school, cheats his way through, goes into the Air Force. Then he gets cut out of there, kind of quits. He says, he wanted to be a pararescuer, and he just had a tremendous amounts of challenges. And he kicked his own self in the butt and said, you know what? I want to be a Navy SEAL. And he goes on to become a Navy SEAL. He goes on to shatter the world record in pull-ups. And it's all about your mastering your mind, enduring the pain, and loving the process. So a lot of times we think of success as somewhere to reach, some goal to obtain, somewhere to attain, somewhere to get. But if you fall in love with the process, the work that it takes to reach whatever goal you have, you will be unstoppable. Because at that point, it's not, oh, I reached this goal and now I'm fine. No, it's, oh, I love the process. I love the grit. I love to get my hands dirty. I love the pain. I love to push through. And that's what changes the mind and works the body to defy the odds. Everybody, well, not everybody, but we know that a lot of 80% mental, 20% physical, or whatever the ratio is, we know that it's mental. We know that our body can be pushed further if the mind is set to doing it. And also, now research is showing that, you have your subconscious mind, which really runs your body. You really do what your subconscious mind tells you to do through habit. So what you have to do is your conscious mind, program it, put information in it, trick it, have it trick your subconscious mind into changing. So say, for instance, you can't run a mile. Well, just try to run a mile and get as far as you can and keep going and keep going. And when it hurts, keep going and tell your mind to keep going and write it down and say, I'm going to run 10 miles and push yourself. And eventually you will run that mile. You won't be tired and it won't hurt anymore. And that's the whole kind of premise behind the Can't Hurt Me, David Goggins. There's nothing you can do to him because he has conquered his mind. He will take on any challenge and will get through it. That is the book for tonight. I haven't finished it. I'm still reading it. I really enjoy it. It is an awesome book. It's not for your teenager, your young teen, your preteen. This is a full grown up book. It has some very in detail, um, graphic, almost graphical novel, I guess you would say. The language there. So if you're planning on reading this, make sure it is in an adult like manner and not with your kids. But I highly recommend it because um, I need it. There are days when I'm like, man, I just cannot do this workout, or I cannot do these push-ups, or how could I get better? Am I really getting better? Am I worth it? I mean, I think about those things too. Everybody goes through those mental where you are psyching yourself out, so to speak. Everybody goes through it. Um, so you just have to push forward and do it one step at a time. Rome wasn't built in a day. You eat an elephant one bite at a time. You walk 1,000 miles. Journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. All of your sayings, all of your old wisdom is built into that. So that is my story. There's a lot more behind that. I mean, I've done a lot, seen a lot, made a lot of mistakes, lost a lot of money, uh, made bad decisions. But on the other end of that is forgiveness and doing better, choosing to do better, because it's a choice that we consciously make whether or not to do better. It's about if you want it. How do you want to see yourself? There's no perfection. I like what Les Brown said. Everybody says practice makes perfect, but get perfection out of your mind because there's no perfection. Practice makes progress. Practice makes getting better, and you continuously get better over and over and over, better and better, better. You never fully arrive. You just continue to grow, be the best that you can be, continue to grow. So, if anybody's interested in a one-on-one with me, if there's a situation that you have, I'm offering myself out to talk through that, help you, mentor you, because I see on Facebook a lot now that people are becoming more open to sharing that, hey, I have this problem. How can I get some help? I see the post about, oh, men are being depressed and going through this, talk to somebody. And I want to make that real. The empowerment platform and myself is here to make that real, to say, if you need to talk, if you're having an issue, if you need some help, if I can't do it, I'll find somebody. I will do the research. I'll help search to find somebody that can help you in your situation, because it's not enough to just say it. We have to do it. Can't just hear the word. Hearing, and doing. Got to do it. You got to make that move. What are my goals? What's Tyrus up to in 2020? In 2020, more speaking, more mentoring, more coaching, flipping 1 or 2 houses at a time. However many I get to through in a year, great. Looking into rentals, being able to start buying an asset to pay for a liability, getting in shape, getting healthy, being strong. I always joke with my wife that one day I'm gonna look like The Rock. I may never get to look like The Rock because The Rock is huge, but I do want to get a little bit better in shape. I want to grow my relationships with my wife and my children, be a good husband, be a good father. I also want to be a good citizen. I want to help my community, volunteer in church. Those are my 2020 goals. That's where I'm going. That's what I'm working on. That's what I'm doing. Self-improvement, 100%. And I am a witness. I had my cousin, Apostle Joseph Dean IV, on last week, and we were kind of talking about kingdom building. And I just thought it popped right into my head. And that's why I'm trying to just segue off to that, because this popped in my head. I asked him years and years and years and years ago, probably back in 2003 or four. I said, fella, how do you, because I was kind of wrestling with, where I was with my spiritual walk. And I said, man, I like rap music. I just got a thing for rap music. How do you get away from that? How do you get away from, listening to things you shouldn't listen to or whatever? And it could be whatever in your life, whatever you think is something that's holding you back. And he said, it'll kind of just move itself out of the way once you start putting in positive and different information. And that is true, because since I've been on this self-improvement kick, I start listening every day, all day. Not all day because I go to work, but in my rides to work, in my free time with myself while I'm working out, I listen to YouTube videos, motivational speaking. I've been doing that. And I tell you straight truth that now when I turn on the TV, I'm not interested in anything really. Used to, I could turn on, find a movie, watch a movie, stay with that movie. Now I'm flipping channels like, man, there's nothing on here that's even interesting to me. Motivational speaking, pull that up. When I'm in the car now, I don't even listen to the radio at all. Like, I used to at least listen to talk. Ricky Smiley morning show. I love Ricky Smiley. Very hilarious to me. I would listen to his morning show. Now I get in the car, boom, motivational speaking. No radio, no music. And if I do happen to have my tape, my music, I want to hear something, it's old school. It's back in the day. It's 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s is it. I can get, I think, the 2000 and maybe 2006. I can't listen to nothing after 2006 at all. So as you begin to put positive information, different information in your mind, your subconscious mind will yearn for that and want it. So if you're reading books, if you're listening to motivational speakers, if you're catching podcasts, if you're self-developing, as you do that, you'll turn that TV to that Real Housewives of Atlanta or whatever that people watch on TV, reality shows, and you'll be like, not even interested. And I love what TD Jakes said. And right now I'm talking to y'all because we family. We just family. I'm looking for family, building good relationships with people. So I'm relaxed. My podcast is not it's not gonna be rigid. It's not going to be uptight. So we're just family. TD Jakes said, if you got enough for your own business going on, you can't focus on nobody else's gossip or their business, because if a person brings that to you, like, man, you heard about such and such, blah, 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 you heard about them? I'm like, nope, I got too much business of my own. I got stuff going on. I can't worry about nobody else. So it's not difficult to change your mindset and move into self-development, self-improvement, and getting yourself out of your current situation to having more. It's not. It may seem like it, but it's truly not. As you pile on books, pile on motivational speaking, pile on information, you will yearn for that. You'll be like, man, where's the next Eric Thomas video? Where's the next TD Jakes video coming out? And that's how you do it. That's how it builds. And there's a book out, The Compound Effect. Small daily habits done repeatedly over time will compound, and you will reach exponential success. Live the life of your dreams by small incremental changes every day, developing new habits. Are there any more questions that I got? Anybody out there have a question, comment, concern, suggestion? I'm open to those. I take those, because you can't grow. I don't know everything and I don't see everything. So I can only grow with having suggestions from my peers, from people that have information they want to share. feel free to. I'm here to answer your questions. I got about 5 more minutes. I've been live for 55 minutes. I try to make this 1 hour. So, in a nutshell, that is who I am, a deep dive with me. We had a question about top 3 books. I suggest the Bible. I suggest Mindset. I suggest Think and Grow Rich. I shared a picture of my library on Facebook recently. I have lots of books. Those 3 stand out. The Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale is up there because, think positive. Be positive. If the more positive you are, the universe will reflect that back to you. Let me see what else is over here that I like. No Excuses by Brian Tracy. Really like that book. How to Win Friends and Influence People. So there are lots and lots of books out there that can get you connected and really find where you are. So in my mentoring, my speaking here, I want to share what I'm be focused on, because you can speak and mentor over a lot of things. I mean, you have marriage coaches and you have, different topics. So I actually have to narrow down to what my specific speaking, coach, and mentorship will be about. My points are philosophy. What is your mental philosophy? My mindset, growth versus fix philosophy. That's one of the big ones. My next speaking point, what I will be coaching on, what I will be mentoring on, is attitude. Your attitude determines your altitude. If you got a negative attitude, if you got a woe is me, you're going to always be suffering with that woe is me. So attitude is 2. 1, philosophy. Number 2 is attitude. Number 3 is action, execution. Because we can dream, daydream. Oh, I want to be all of these things in life. But if you don't have any action or execution, start and keep moving, you won't get anywhere. And then lastly, wealth building through real estate. How can I reach a wealthy, or how can I build wealth? What are one of the ways? I could talk intelligently about several ways to build wealth, but my focus is real estate because I have done more in it. I don't know a whole lot about stocks. I have a financial advisor that helps with that. So I know about real estate. I have wholesaling real estate, flipped houses in real estate. I'm a licensed contractor. I'm a licensed realtor with Keller Williams. So I have a lot of knowledge to share in real estate. I have a lot of understanding. And I'm just going to share my story with people, include my college years, losing a full scholarship, going to the military, being medically retired from the military and having ongoing medical challenges, obtaining my degrees, working in government contracting, and, just talking to people about how they can achieve. So that's kind of where my coaching, my mentor, my speaking, those are the areas: philosophy, attitude, action, execution, wealth building through real estate. That's my bread and butter. Those are the things that I can laser focus on, that I can talk intelligently about, that I know a lot about, and that's where I'll be sharing. So if there's anyone that has any questions afterwards, you are welcome to leave a comment on the Empowerment Platforms page, Facebook page. The Empowerment Platform does have a YouTube page. As I end this talk, you can send messages to me. I'll answer them, or I'll get back with you. I ask that you like this video, that you share it, because information is power, knowledge is power. Using that information is power. So even if you feel like, hey, I may not need that, maybe somebody that does. So I just ask that everyone that joined, everyone that watches this, that you like and share this video. Follow us on Facebook at the Empowerment Platform. You can also follow me at Tyrus Shivers, all one word, just put together, my first name, my last name, Tyrus Shivers. You can like it on Twitter, at Tyrus Shivers on Twitter, at Tyrus Shivers on Instagram, at Tyrus Shivers on TikTok, and then at Empowerment Platform on YouTube. So that's where we can be found. Facebook pages I have at Tyrus Shivers and at the Empowerment Platform. So like and share, please, please do that so I can reach as many people around the world as I can, sharing knowledge, sharing information, giving back, and really growing this thing to be everything that it can be. I have big, big dreams, big plans for the Empowerment Platform as a separate, entirely separate entity from myself. Me and my wife have goals for this that in the future is going to be a really big thing, and we really want to impact lives, really want to touch people, really want to change situations the best that we know how. So I thank you guys. I'm at an hour and 1 minute, and it's time for me to go. I appreciate you for tuning in to listen to me, my story, share with me just the kind of journey that I've taken to get from where I was to where I am. Any questions, like I said, feel free to reach out. And I just want to always remind, I want to open and close with the same thing, because if we repeat something, it sticks a little. So, it may sound repetitive out there to the crowd, but I just want to let you guys know that the purpose of the Empowerment Platform is to empower people to reach whatever level of success in their life that they determine. That is our goal. That is what we're here for. I thank you. Be blessed and have a great night, guys.